Good morning, everybody. This is Mario from Barber TV. Just to give you a quick reminder that we are live on Amazon TV, Roku, and Apple TV. Also, we will be dropping that Apple app and the Android app here pretty soon. Just working on a couple tweaks to make sure everything's good from a global perspective. Also, follow us on all social media platforms. Hit the subscribe on the YouTube and make sure that you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, iHeart Media Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. I want to introduce a special guest this morning. Thanks for waking up this morning and getting situated for me as I'm just waking up. You could tell by I didn't do my moisturizing technique this morning, so I'm kind of looking rough right now. Nah, I'm kidding. So, a person that I met about a year and a half ago, very inspirational, was in a situation to where he really he wanted a change, and he wanted something where he could make an impact, also do something that he loves the most and monetize from it. I think we're all kind of at that stage to where we're caught in a cog of working, because that's the way we were kind of, I don't want to use the word program, but that's what we're accustomed to. And now that we've learned over time that I can make money doing what I love to do best and serve others and impact the community. That's something to where a lot of people didn't think was something where you could make a living, make a great living, and monetize from it. And that's the reality. That's been the stories that we've been hearing all the time. So long story short, we have someone here that is kind of not new in the game, but new as far as in the industry of starting the new wave of what barbering is going to be moving from 2022 and beyond. My man at Barbershop, what's up, brother? How you doing this morning?
What's going on, Mario? Appreciate you having me on. I'm doing great. Coming live here from my studio out in Philadelphia. Appreciate you having me on today.
I miss Philly, man. I was out there for like a year. I miss the food. I miss the vibe. It's definitely, I don't miss the snow. It doesn't snow in Vegas. So, but good stuff. Yeah. Just wanted to really just engage with you on some of the things that you're doing and some of the history what brought you to this point. The question I always ask everybody is, how did you get into the barber profession? If you could please articulate that to us, please.
Absolutely. So I'll start it out by saying that, going off what you said, I was always 1 foot in, 1 foot out in the industry. So I cut hair starting back when I was 12 years old. I was in the bathroom with my brother, nicking him, cutting him up. We were fighting and everything. And I was cutting my own hair and just basically experimenting. But the rewarding feeling that I got when he would come home and be like, yo, my friends love the fade and everything, allowed me to keep going within that. And then I picked the clippers up, but I never necessarily put them down. So going full circle into where I'm at now, I did that, cut people on the football team, always had a few friends, my core 5 group that I was always cutting their hair. I stayed in barbershops in North Jersey, where I'm from. So I was always at my one barbershop, Red's Barbershop. I was at High End Barbershop, just always watching the guys, learning from them. But again, I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So I was never necessarily fully immersed within the industry. I was also going to school at the time. I'm a graduate from Temple University, from the Fox Business School. I went on to work at a corporate company, and there was no passion within that compared to me cutting hair and giving that rewarding feeling to other people that I initially felt when I would go to the barbershops. So where we met about a year and a half ago is when I decided to leave my corporate position and go to attend Premier Barber Institute, ran by Tyreek Jackson. And I feel like it gave me a whole new breath, a whole new life into the barber industry, and was like a whole new welcoming to something that I've loved to do for so long. And I joined Premier Barber Institute, and it was November of 2020. And through that time, basically I already had the foundation set within that, the foundation of learning how to fade. And as I got into Premiere, every day, the culture of not only building upon that foundation, but learning the science behind the different techniques and everything, learning new techniques. And that brought me to when I graduated in September of 2021. And now I have my own studio. I'm full time with the barbering. So I basically in September of 2020, I said, I dove in head first. I said,
Yeah.
let me do this. This is my passion. I'm going to go ahead, go for it. And, now I've been actually today is my 1 year since I got the keys to my studio. So
Congratulations, doggy.
1 year since I got the keys to the studio. It was a couple days after 4th of July. Got the keys, came in, started building it out, and started transitioning all my clients over to here. So that's a nice little rundown right there.
That's a good success story. You touched on a great point. I'm gonna go back and revisit that. As corporate America, we think we have to go to college. Well, that's kind of how we're wired, right? Because you have our parents. All we knew is we had to go to school, we had to get a job, we had to put in 25 years and retired, and we're set. Not the case.
No, no.
Things are so dynamic, as I would like to say, in regards to feeling like you're making a contribution. Like we go to school, you work for a company. We feel rewarded in some aspects when we do a good task in corporate America. What is the difference between getting accolades as a barber now versus getting accolades and doing things for corporate America where you're not taking complete ownership of the company? What is the difference in that?
Wow, yeah. So the difference I believe from that is that um, the rewarding feeling. So you get this project, you get this job within the corporate world, and you got to go through the different channels in the company to get the completion of this project. And you get to the completion, and they're like, "Hey, nice job. Here's the next project." It's just, "Hey, here's the next project," or, "Oh, this wasn't done well." And it's not saying in a bad way. You get a lot of learning experiences, how to work with different groups and everything like that. But I feel like for me, the difference is that on a very small level, just to be able to impact just someone's life as they sit in the chair, to be able to have that rewarding feeling of that they're sitting in the chair, like within that moment, I am having a conversation with them and making them feel better about their appearance and make them go out and have that confidence. To me, that is much more of a rewarding feeling. And additionally, like being a business owner now for my studio, everything that I put in, all the marketing, all the connections that I'm making with local businesses and trying to do that, it's directly impacting my business and going back into my business. So a lot more rewarding when you see, say, a marketing project go out, then it comes full circle and you see, that you've increased a percentage of your business over a month-long period of running that project. You're like, I can pat myself on the back and then say, "Hey,
Sure,
all right,
man.
now here goes the next one."
Exactly.
And I'm building that and building it out that way. So I think, for me, it's like, hey, I'm working on something that I'm building. So
I
like
love
that.
these conversations about, I'm so business minded as well. And I love these deep diving conversations about how we take something from zero and scale it to 100. Because to me, it's important. A lot of people like yourself that's just starting, who has an education background, who started something in
Hmm.
corporate America, especially
Hmm.
in sales, marketing, and business. I've
Hmm.
noticed a very interesting trend. Someone that's coming up, um, like some of these new cats are being injected into the industry just based on the culture that they're seeing. It's kind of like when someone grow up to be a rapper. Now people are growing up to be like, "Yo, I want to be a barber." Very fascinating, like turn
Yeah, yeah,
going on right now. But as we came from different backgrounds, you went to business school.
yeah,
You only been starting for a year. Sometimes that may feel like you're behind compared to all the OGs of the industry. But
yeah,
somehow I feel that you have a leg up. You have like an accelerated fast track on leveraging your knowledge of business
yeah.
from a corporate and applying those principalities to how it is to scale your business. Can you explain the difference between the two? And do you feel that there's an advantage from an educational piece, from a foundational business perspective that gives you an added edge to really level up your business quickly or scale it up quickly than the conventional route?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, going to Temple, the Fox School of Business, again built that foundation within the business world. So from I started there in 2014, went in, undecided business, didn't really know what was going on. By 2017, my last 2 years, I was an entrepreneurship major. We were able to work on our own projects. So me having the passion within the barbering industry, I'm like, okay, I am now having focus classes with professors and different business minds, and I'm putting it all into barbering. So in 2017, with the help of my two roommates, who one was a computer science major, one was an MIS major, management information systems. We back end coded an entire scheduling appointment system website, and saw the ins and outs of it from the ground up. And then seeing how that worked translated into, okay, now I understand how you can effectively manage your clientele and appointment system. Now, fast forward, when I get into Premier Barber Institute, I've already learned that stuff
Oh
from
yeah.
years back. And then one of the big questions coming out is like, oh, what am I, I'm about to get out of barber school. How do I manage my clientele? And it's like, well, here, so that's a little idea of like some of the things that have been learned. Additionally, learning how to network, learning how to handle your marketing, whether it's direct or indirect marketing, social media campaigns, all these things that you learn, um, that I've learned before getting into the actual industry, gives me a leg up to be like, okay, now I can apply all of these different principles into this specific industry that I know I want to grow with. So, just running certain marketing campaigns, Google ad campaigns. I don't necessarily, I still go in and learn it. I love to learn like the systems like from the ground up, because I think it's really important to know a lot of how these things work versus just saying, I'm going to go get someone to market it for me. But knowing how they work and then being able to extrapolate it onto a much bigger level has given me a leg up to see where I want to go within the industry.
That's a great answer. Thanks so much for that. As I'm sitting here listening to you, I'm kind of getting these thoughts like, does the OGs of the game have a disadvantage of not having that skill set? And additionally, um, what you're trying to accomplish, is it on par with what the OG is trying to accomplish, or is it apples and apples or apples and oranges?
Mm,
Like your OG Red, right? Like you said, we've all been going to
yeah.
traditional barbershops. Shouts out to Red. Um,
Yes.
does he feel? Maybe I should ask him this question, but I'm asking you since you guys have that relationship. Do you feel that he's still making contributions, or do you feel from the outside that people like Red and the OGs that have this massive amounts of experience, do you think that the OGs are being like shut out, or do you think they're having to adapt so quickly that it's maybe taken away from the things that they love the most? That just very slow crock pot, as I call it, interaction
Right.
versus everything's like boom, 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 boom in the industry right now. If you could speak on that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so I think I would say it's not apples to apples. I think that the OGs have solidified their spot within the game. Um, he has a lock on his area. You know what I mean? From a business standpoint, I don't think that there's a busier shop out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's always the evolution of change. Like for me, I can speak on my perspective. I'm like, well, now everyone's on TikTok. I'm trying to learn TikTok, and I feel like an old head now, like trying to get in there and try to get in there and like, I got to make this TikTok. I got to make this real. So I think there isn't necessarily a comparison of the OGs and the new guys coming in, because there's always the beauty in this industry that I think is that there's always something to learn. You can go to the Connecticut Barber Expo and learn a new technique where, I can easily say I've been doing this for over 14 years, but there's always something to learn, new technique, a new machine, or a new, shear technique that's coming out. So there's always going to be something to learn, but I feel like as the OGs, they've solidified their spot in the game. They've got a lock on, what their contribution to the game has been made. So I hope that answered that.
Is it hard to? There's a lot of distractions. There's, like you
Hmm.
said, even in my industry, every day I'm waking up like, what could I do better? I'm always thinking big. I was sharing with you some of the things that I'm working on in regards to scaling Barberview TV, not only from a local perspective, but from a global perspective. And
Absolutely.
so, do you feel that there's an enormous amount of pressure for success in 2022, just based on the way the business industry as a whole has showed us analytics, um,
Yeah.
social media, the advanced
Hmm.
marketing, SEO. Do you feel that there's more pressure on you as an up and coming barber now compared to someone back in the day who was like, "Yo, I got a 6 seat shop. If they come, they come," and I'm like the neighborhood hero. What's your take on that?
Yeah. So I think you put it perfectly by saying that there's a lot of distractions out there, right? There's a lot of distractions when you open up the phone and you see Instagram and you see TikTok and you're like, man, this guy's doing this and he's getting all these views and everything. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't see
Oh,
that.
of
I'm like,
course.
man, I'm putting in work here. And I'm like, struggling to get 100 views. And I'm like, but I think it comes back to the core of staying consistent with what you're doing, right? So eliminating those distractions and staying focused on what you want to accomplish and knowing what your goal is, right? So what my goal is, and staying on track with that goal, understanding that there is that pressure out there, right? To be like, man, I gotta get my social media game up, I gotta get my marketing game up. But then, coming back to the realization like, hey, I'm still building brick by brick each day and staying consistent on that goal. And I think that when you ground yourself with that ideology, then that's the most important thing to remember, that hey, so and so is going to be doing this, someone's going to be doing that, but it's competition with what did I do yesterday versus what did I do today, and just staying focused on that. So there is a pressure out there, but if anything, it's pressure on myself, to like, hey, I gotta build upon what I did from the last day. So I kind of try to keep that ideology when I feel that pressure coming on.
Exactly. It is like I feel like we need 36-hour days right now.
Oh yeah, especially you, all that traveling.
It
You
just
need a couple
feels like it's
extra.
never enough time. From when you started your and once again, congratulations on the 1 year where you actually
Thank
got
you.
the keys. That had to be a holy shit moment, by the way. I don't care who you are
It was a holy shit
when
moment.
it's go time. It's like this is what I wanted. Time to strap up.
Yeah.
What grade will you give yourself if you was very honest here? If you was to give yourself a grade from 1 year from now to your progress to today, July, in the month of
Hmm.
July, what will you
Hmm.
give yourself and why?
Well, I'm very hard on myself. I'm inclined to say C plus, but I was always a B and A student, so I would give myself a B. Very calm there because I've made it a year being full time. I've grown my business at about like from 20% since the last analytics report that I pulled. Um, and I would say that overall, the reason I would give myself a B is because there's still a lot of room for improvement. There's still a lot of room to improve my marketing, to improve. I want to grow my business more, to get the name out there. And these are always things that I'm working on to make sure that the space is. I try to create a very like inclusive space of all my any client that I have. So I would say, yeah, like I'm very proud of myself. I have to remember, as hard as I am on myself, I have to remember to give myself credit because I did do it. I did get the studio, and it's still in operation a year later through various different obstacles that we faced in the country. So um, I would say that hey, I'm proud of myself, and that at the end of the day, like I got to continue to work. And continue to improve on the things I know I need to improve on. But overall, doing the thing.
Good stuff. Now we're gonna come back in a year and see where you're at with that beat to see if it's upgraded or if you're giving yourself not enough credit for it. So
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely.
we'll put a pin in this chapter and go back down the line.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
no question, the pandemic had tremendous impacts on everybody. I believe, you were in school during the pandemic, right? During
So So right after, no, so I joined Premiere basically right when it about a month or two after it opened up. So during the pandemic, I was actually still working my corporate job, and I've told people this, and it's actually a crazy one for me, and I'm sure a lot of people that consistently cut hair can relate to this. Is that when they shut down barbershops and studios, I was still cutting at the time. I was not cutting when they shut everything down. That was the longest 3 months I've gone without cutting hair in like 10 years or something like that. I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I had no clue what to do.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, like, I can't even cut hair. I think I'd only cut my roommate's hair that I lived with at the time. And I was like, hey man, can I give you a haircut? Like, we were just like experimenting, cutting each other's hair. But yeah, so I was actually just working at the time. But yeah, no, it was definitely a tough time.
So people who I call it hit the fuck it button and say fuck it. I'm going to do exactly what I want to do in life and what I feel that my proverbial calling is. All of your friends, and I know we have friends across all spectrums of business in the barber industry, corporate industry, people we know in different industries.
Hmm.
Tell me what those conversations has been like during your full cycle of leaving corporate America to starting school to starting a business. Sometimes they are your biggest cheerleaders, and sometimes they do make you question yourself. Like, man, why you want to do that? You have this amazing job, but
Hmm.
you're still pushing. How has that feedback have been from when you started and even currently till today?
Full support. I really try to surround myself with people that keep a like-minded mentality. At the same time, you got to have, you like to challenge, welcome the opposition as well. But I would say that the people that I'm around, full support of it. Like you said, biggest cheerleaders. Just overall, like, it's like, hey, you took the step. There's people that out there that want to take that step, and I encourage them. Hey, like, if you want to go and do something, and you've got the plan set in place, or you really don't feel like what you're doing right now is serving you, go ahead and try it out at this age. I've had a few people that I've consulted with since I took that leap, and dove headfirst into the industry, where they're like, hey man, I'm really thinking about, quitting this job or something, like, and I'm like, hey, look, I've sent my 2 week notice to people and helped them doctor it. How they need to, yeah, I've gave them, tips and tricks, and I love to hear their quitting story if it's a good one. I always recommend, like, leaving on a good note anywhere you go. But yeah, no, it's been full support, and I've actually, like I said, I've helped people that additionally want to make a leap into a different chapter, and go into it. Help them get through that as well, because it's not an easy decision to make. At the time you're like, okay, I've got a 401k, I've got a set salary and everything. Like, I'm about to just jump in and vacate all of that. So it's not a tough one, but it's not an easy one. But once you do it and you see the results coming out of it that are coming back in, it definitely pays off.
It's crazy. When I was at CT Expo, and we'll get into that in a second, I met a 51-year-old student barber that was like, I'm tired of 51, super OG white dude. Was like,
Yeah,
I'm done with corporate America. My wife supported me. I'm good. So to me, it's good to hear these stories, to have a part of your own business, to have something that's yours, that started from scratch. Always a good feeling.
absolutely.
What have you learned about yourself during this whole transition, that about yourself that you didn't know that was inside of you during this whole transaction of becoming to be a barber?
So I would say, once I made that transition, right, it's no longer having that manager to keep you hold yourself accountable, right? So I've learned, within myself, that the discipline is there, right? I have to discipline myself every day and hold myself accountable that at the end of the day, I got to close out my books. At the end of the month, I've got to close out my accounts. At the end of every morning, I wake up and go to the gym, and I've got to, no one's telling me to do that. I got to have that intrinsic motivation to keep that going. So, I would say just, that I've learned through myself that I've learned that I can do it, and that I just have to keep that positive mindset, and I have that to continue to go, because there's definitely times when it's like, man, this might not be the easiest or whatever, but when that motivation strikes down is when the discipline comes in, and keeping that discipline throughout any of those high low periods is definitely something I've learned about myself, that the track might veer off a little bit, but then I can pull myself right back to it, get right back on
Absolutely.
track. Yeah.
Absolutely. CT Expo, amazing. The biggest global exhibition of barbers products and just the industry as a whole. That was my first time going as well, as I'm
Yeah.
taking a global company. I need to be at the biggest spot. Tell me your
Absolutely.
experience as a barber now, going to Expo, and just the different mindset that you're having from a student to a barber when you enter an arena of that size.
Mind blown. I came from, like I said, I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I cut hair. I knew nothing about the industry. I knew nothing about a barber expo. I knew nothing about, I didn't even know anything like that existed, right?
Hmm.
And to come a year after graduating from the barber school to be there, I mean, it was amazing. I think they totaled it at over, what was like 11,000 people were there. Um, the opportunity again to network and see just some amazing techniques, learn and meet from some amazing people, and make connections there that can really further along in the barber industry. I mean, I was just mind blown. I was speechless at a certain point, just like, I've never seen a haircut done like that. I've never seen anything like that. I've seen it on Instagram, but I haven't seen it anywhere. So I was like, it was cool. And then you just get to see some people that you've seen online. So it was a great time overall. I definitely will be back. And no, it was just amazing. It was an amazing experience. And for the I think Jay Major set it up like great job by that, because it's something that I encourage any barber to go to, and at least get that exposure if you are interested in being in the industry, because it's just you can learn a lot. I was out of school for some time, so I come back and my clients, they see my posts on Instagram and they're like, "Hey, how was it?" And it looked amazing, man. And you have a talking point there with your clients, and I'm just telling them like, "Hey, we're gonna do this haircut a little bit different today because I learned this technique and that." So you're in school, you're learning every day. Leave it for a little bit, but you go there, it's educational. It's educational to say the least. So really
You know,
good time.
as you're thinking about this, I'm easily switching back to corporate America. It's almost like a CEU unit, right? Like
Yeah,
continuous
seriously.
education unit. Like I have to get like 6 units of education,
Yeah.
just to kind of keep up with everything, because it's going so fast. It's a whirlwind. And do you think, and that brings up another point, do you think there's a fear of missing out in the barber
Mm,
game? Is there a fear of like, I got to be on top of
mm.
everything. I got to wake up. I got to do this. I got to do that. You wake up in the morning to go use the bathroom at 2 o'clock in the morning. Wait, let me see what's, what's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on.
I mean, I don't know if there's a fear of missing out. I think again it comes back to the consistency and just continuing to work on each day what you want to see from your contribution into the game. So and there's always content being posted out. So it's we have so much accessibility now at the palm of our fingertips to catch up on what's going on in the industry, see what's going on, see what people are doing. So I wouldn't say that there's necessarily a fear of missing out, more so of like, are you taking advantage of the accessibility that you have to not miss out on what's going on? you
I
know?
like that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well put. I love these conversations.
Yeah. No, this is great. I love it. I could talk about this all day.
Awesome. Let's talk about your future. Where do you see yourself moving forward? Some of the things that you're doing now, and what we could be looking for. Looking for you as far as contributions to the barber industry moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So on a personal level, I have the studio here. I'm working on, renovating that out right now, really giving a new revamped look after that 1 year kind of process to say, hey, this is now, I've got comfortable in here. Let me see how I can improve it. And then, looking forward, still am working on the website on the website side of things. So necessarily, making that accessibility for other barbers to have what I've had that has helped me grow within the industry. I want to give that to that next generation. So working on the barber tech side of things is going to be something that you can see. And then on a personal level, just continuing to work on my personal branding. As you see, I got like the T-shirt going on right here.
Right.
I've been working on a little bit of different, merch and everything. Trying to just focus on the personal branding and building up, the content that's out there for people to see and be able to share my knowledge that I have with so many years in the industry, so other people can take from it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Good stuff, man. Yeah, tell the views out there, how can someone reach you if they're in the Philly area, how they could book you and all your social media things that you have going on right now, please.
Absolutely. So on every social media platform, that's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, it is at the
MySpace?
barber. No more MySpace. I'm not that old. I'm not that old now. It is at the Barbershop, and then on my website is www.thebarbershop.com. If you are in the Philadelphia area, you can book an appointment in under a minute and a half. So that is one of the main things that I've worked on. A very seamless booking experience that involves notifications, calendar integration, and it's a private studio experience. So when you book, you have all the instructions on how to enter into the space that is given into the private studio. So it's a real exclusive experience that comes with the booking app. So, but yeah, it's at the barbershop on every platform.
Awesome. Thanks. Really, one quick question that you jogged my memory here. What makes the studio experience to you
Mm.
different than the traditional barbershop experience?
Yeah, so I love both. I love both. I've worked in a bunch of shops before, and then the studio experience again has been a year for me. I love the studio experience because I'm able to focus on that one-on-one, very much detailed haircut for the person that's coming in versus when I'm in a shop, it's like, I'm moving at a different speed. So I'm really able to tailor where the conversation goes. They feel comfortable within the studio. You come in, it's a relaxing experience. So from the studio experience, I feel like, and it's all inclusive. So there's people from, different, everywhere, different aspects of life that come in and they're like, hey, I feel so comfortable in here. So it's a comfortability factor and it allows me to create within my own space and, really, control the environment. So
Gotcha.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait for you. And shouts out to Tyreek Jackson. Um,
Absolutely.
where you were when I first interviewed you a year and a half ago to now, I want you to get some popcorn. You're gonna be like, "Yo, that was me."
That's
I
wild. Yeah.
think you were just about to hit your 1200 mark or your a
Okay.
stage, and you were talking about
Okay.
I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So it's good to just see you growth. I'm a big cheerleader of you, and I love success stories. I love the fact that you've taken a risk, a big risk, where you've invested in corporate America. You've pivoted to your passion of one foot in, one foot out. Man, I think we can go all day, but I do have one more question. for you
Yeah.
in regards to that experience. Why do you think people choose? Why do you think people don't want to come out the gate
Mm.
as a barber, especially at an age to where you was at, where you already was wired for corporate America?
Mm.
Why do you think that is so? Do you think there was a time when you was getting cuts back in the day and were like, I want to be a barber, or was that even a thought?
Yeah, yeah. So you mean like from in the you mean in the corporate standpoint when I was getting cuts that I wanted to go? Is that what you're saying?
No. So say for instance, right? You've been cutting for 14 plus years, right?
Okay.
There was something in your DNA that was going to lead you to this path, regardless if you want to do it or not. Why didn't you just do it from onset? What made you go to the? We always do that. We go with the safe play,
Yeah, I
right?
got you. I
We go
got you.
with the status quo. Why did you do that? And do you and how do you think it's going to impact people going further with their decisions?
Yeah. So I would say again, at that time, it was pressures, societal pressures. As simple as that, having the thought of there is no success in going without going that traditional route, as you want to call it. So
Hmm.
going to college, getting that degree, and then getting a job, right? So you have the safety of a salary and everything. I think it's changed a little bit since then. We're seeing people be more a vocal advocate to say it's okay to work with your hands. It's okay to go into different college. Isn't for everyone. I know people that are very successful that never went to college. So I think at the time for me, it was just that societal pressure to think like, oh, and then there is the back of my mind like, oh, like yeah, I see everyone around me has a job and it's really cool, and this is definitely like the barbering wasn't that traditional route, so I almost had to go about it in a way where I was like, I got to have that goal in my head that I know I can do it. But I had to work through those societal pressures before I, finally built up that courage to be like, okay, I'm doing this. You know what I mean? So
Do you
it's
think because barbering wasn't considered a job? Because that's been a lot of things that I've heard from people. Like, I didn't really think barbering was like a legit job. Now that you
yeah,
did,
yeah.
it's
I would say that it wasn't necessary. It was like it was more of a hobby or
mhm.
something like that. And you hear, oh, you can't make it just doing that, like whatever. So you hear all these things, and it kind of comes back to you're going to get in what you put out, right? So if I was still in the corporate world, but I'm not 100% passionate about it, I'm only going to hit a certain plateau. Whereas like now realizing and knowing that barbering is my passion, and learning through different various life situations that what if you put in 100% to what you love, like it's going to love you back, and you will reap all the benefits from it as long as you're staying committed to doing what you're doing. So yeah, just took some learning steps and everything to get through all that.
Shot. Yeah, that's awesome, brother. Don't want to take up too much of your time because I know you got clients
uh,
waiting. Hey, brother, thanks so much for your time.
I appreciate you, and
It's been an amazing conversation just on the business level, personal level. I think the industry needs to hear this. I think it's one of the
absolutely.
things that people need to understand. Like, we're humans, we're rooting for everyone. There is a entry point. You just have to figure out where you want to enter at, what risk you're willing to take, and also believe in yourself. Most importantly, right? I think that's the key. It starts with yourself, man. But
Absolutely.
once again, thanks so much for your time, your friendship, and I look forward to seeing bigger and better things from you down the line. Peace out,
Sir.
everybody.
All right. Thank you, Mario.